Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, all glories to our revered speaker for today, His Grace JIVA TATTVA Prabhu, and all glories to assembled Vaishnava devotees. We thank you all for being here today, as always. Like I was saying earlier on, today happens to be the last day of the week, Friday. When I say last day of the week, I mean last day of the working days of the week. And today also happens to be the last text. The Bhagavatam text we have for today happens to be the last text of the chapter, that is chapter 1 of chapter 3. And it couldn't be better than having Prabhuji speaking on all this important verse. And we're very grateful Prabhuji is here and he is ready to go. So without further ado, Prabhu, I may put the verse on the screen and then you take it over from here. Hare Krishna. And sincerely thank you for accepting our invitation to come to speak with us. Hare Krishna.
So while Sadhdev Prabhu is doing that, we can start with the invocation prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiriyet. Shavatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtanaha Hridayantasto He Bhadrani Vidunoti Suhatsatam Nashta Praeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavti Nashtaki. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. And thank you, Sadhdev Prabhu and the Africa Forum for giving this opportunity to cover this verse. So Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 1st chapter, the last verse, the 45th verse is what we are covering today. Please join us in the recitation. Tasya prapanna khila lokapanam avasthitanam anushasane swe arthaya jatasya yadushvajasya Vartam sakhe kirtyatit kirtehe. Synonyms. Tasya, his. Prapanna, surrendered. Akhila Lokapanam, all rulers of the entire universe. Avasthitanam, situated in. Anushasane, under the control of. Sway, own self. Arthaya, for the interest of. Jatasya, of the born. Yadushu, in the family of the Yadus. Ajasya, of the unborn. Vartam, topics. Sakhe, O my friend. Kirtaya, please narrate. Tirth Kirtehe, of the Lord, whose glories are chanted in the places of pilgrimage. Translation by His Divine Grace, S.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O my friend, please therefore chant the glories of the Lord, who is meant to be glorified in the places of pilgrimage. He is unborn, and yet he appears by his causeless mercy upon the surrendered rulers of all parts of the universe. Only for their interest did he appear in the family of his unalloyed devotees, the Yadus. Purport. There are innumerable rulers all over the universe in different varieties of planets, the sun god in the sun planet, the moon god in the moon planet, Indra in the heavenly planet, Vayu, Varuna, and those in the Brahmalok planet, where Lord Brahma is living. All are obedient servants of the Lord. Whenever there is any trouble in the administration of innumerable planets in different universes, the ruler rulers pray for an appearance, and the Lord appears. The Bhagavatam 1.3.28 has already confirmed this in the following verse. Ete chams kalaha pumsah krishnastu bhagwan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam hridayanti yuge yuge. In every millennium, whenever there is any trouble for the obedient rulers, the Lord appears. He also appears for the sake of his pure, unalloyed devotees. The surrendered rulers and the pure devotees are always strictly under the control of the Lord, and they are never disobedient to the desires of the Lord. The Lord is therefore always attentive to them. The purpose of pilgrimages is to remember the Lord constantly, and therefore the Lord is known as Tirth Kirti. The purpose of going to a place of pilgrimage is to get the chance to glorify the Lord. Even today, although times have changed, there are still pilgrimage sites in India. For example, in Mathura and Vrindavan, where we had a chance to stay, people are awake from early in the morning at 4 a.m. up until night time and are constantly engaged some way or other in chanting the holy glories of the Lord. The beauty of such a pilgrimage site is that automatically one remembers the holy glories of the Lord. His name, fame, quality, form, pastimes, and entourage are all identical to the Lord, and therefore chanting the glories of the Lord invokes the personal presence of the Lord. Anytime or anywhere pure devotees meet and chant the glories of the Lord is present without any doubt. It is said by the Lord himself that he always stays where his pure devotees chant his glories. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the third canto, first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Questions by Vidur. Hare Krishna, please join us in Guru Pranati. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tadaham Vande Shri Gurum Dina Taranam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, in this chapter, let's understand the gist of this chapter as we dive into this particular last verse as why, questions are being asked by Vidur. And who's he asking these questions to? So who's the party he's expecting response from? So that's also very important for us to understand. So what has happened till now? We also understand, first of all, let's look at the character of Vidwan Vidur. He becomes Mahatma later. So right now he's referred to in the Shastras as Vidwan because he's a Vidwan Bhakt Vidur. And he is actually going from pilgrimage to pilgrimage. Now, what triggered that going from pilgrimage to pilgrimage? Because that's the focus of today's verse. That Lord's name should always be glorified because that's the purpose of pilgrimages. Like Mathura and Vrindavan, automatically, just by being present in a holy place, devotional service becomes spontaneous. You don't have to make an extra effort. You don't have to worry about getting up at 4 a.m. because all the bells start ringing 4 a.m. So you know that, yes, Mangalarti is going on and you want to be eager, so you go there early on. So it becomes spontaneous and it becomes easy in the association of devotees to take to devotional service. Mahatma Vidwan Vidur. So Vidur is the younger brother, half brother of Pandu and Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra is the blind king. Lord Krishna had already visited Dhritarashtra as a messenger of Yudhishthira Maharaj. He presented this plea that at least give 5 villages if you don't want to return the whole kingdom, because Duryodhana said, no, I will not return the whole kingdom, which is rightfully actually Yudhishthira Maharaj's. So yeah, they asked for 5 villages. And the moment Duryodhana saw which 5 villages, because it was those 5 villages were selected by Sadev, because Duryodhana said, okay, you want 5 villages, show me. And Duryodhana, he really became upset because the way they strategically located these 5 villages, he knew immediately that Pandavas will again build the whole kingdom in no time. So when he looked at that plan, those 5 villages, the names as they appeared, he could see in future what Pandavas are going to do. And so he said, I won't give a land where they can even put a pin. This was the response Duryodhana had. And we always understand his response, but why did he respond this way? That's also very important to know. And so Lord Krishna, he heard this response, and Duryodhana even tried to imprison Lord Krishna. And that was the time where Lord Krishna showed his universal form. And his universal form, as we understand from Bhagavad Gita, as if 1,000 suns have suddenly arisen. So there's just so much effulgence. You can't keep your eyes open. People are bewildered. The only personalities who could see Lord Krishna in his universal form were given divine eyes automatically by Lord Krishna, because these were pure devotees. We hear of Bhishma Pitamaha. He is one of the Mahajanas. We hear about, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Vidur. So these personalities were able to see Lord Krishna because Lord Krishna granted them divine eyes automatically. But others could not. And Lord Krishna left the assembly hall. And when Duryodhana had even the night before given Lord Krishna an invitation for Chappan Bhog, like 56 auspicious, delicious items, offered in dinner. So he had asked Lord Krishna to come as a guest. Lord Krishna actually went to Vidur's place. So in the afternoon and evening, once again, he actually had accepted, while Vidur was living in a very humble state. And Vidurani, his wife, she was also a great devotee of the Lord. So again, there's a beautiful pastime, but keeping the time in mind, we'll stay with this, that after Lord Krishna left, Dhritarashtra asked, because Dhritarashtra was very affectionate towards Vidur. He knew that Vidur is his well-wisher. So he would use Vidur as his advisor. So he asked Vidur, what should we do? Vidur said, you actually should give up your son, Duryodhana. He is not an auspicious son, and he will cause the destruction of this dynasty. And Duryodhana heard this. And Duryodhana, why Vidur said all this is because Duryodhana's company was Shakuni Mama. His company was Karna. And these two personalities were constantly polluting him against the Pandavas. Shakuni had a personal agenda. His sister Gandhari was married to Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra was a blind man. And so his sister had put blindfold on her eyes. And he, instead of ruling his kingdom Gandhar Desh, he had actually moved to Hastinapur, as he wanted to make sure that his side of the family, the Dhritarashtra side, the sons, they are able to rule, not the Pandavas. So he had his personal agenda that way. Now, Duryodhana, when he heard Vidur, he felt like, oh, Uncle Vidur is polluting my father's consciousness so that he would give me up. So instead of being attacked this way, he actually attacked Vidur by harsh words. He called him son of maidservant because his mother, Vidur's mother, was a maidservant. But then we also talked about in the previous session, as even though Vidur was son of a maidservant, who's his father? Shri Krishna Dvaipanya Vyasdev, who wrote all the Vedas, author of Srimad Bhagavatam himself. And so somebody could say, wow, on one side, his mother is a Shudra, but father is, Ashakta Veshavtar, incarnation, empowered incarnation of the Supreme Personality of God. And who's Vidur? Let's not forget, Vidur himself is a Mahajana. So when we say this, people are not able to relate because people sometimes do not know what was the previous position of Vidur. Vidur was none other than Yamraj, who was cursed by Mandavya Muni, also known as Manduka Muni, to become a Shudra because he punished Mandukya Muni with a lance through the body, just because Mandukya Muni, when he's a boy, young boy, he had pierced the body of an ant. So Mandukya Muni felt that this is injustice. I was innocent. But now, knowing that I did it in innocence, it should be forgiven, but you punished me in such a painful way, you should be born as a Shudra. So Yamraj decided to be born as a Shudra. And we all understand from Srimad Bhagavatam that Yamraj is one of the 12 Mahajanas. Swayambhur Narado Shambhu Kumaro Kapilo Manu Prahlado Janako Bhishma Bali Vaya Sukhirvayam. So in Ajami's pastime, Yamraj himself is revealing who are the 12 Mahajanas. These are the authorities on devotional service. These are the authorities on Shastra. These are the authorities on how we lead our life purely to go back home, back to Godhead. Swayambhu, Lord Brahma, Narada, Devashi Narad. Now, why is Devashi Narad immediately called like after Brahma? Because Devashi Narad, first of all, he has a spiritual body. Second, he is also a Shaktavishabda. He's an incarnation of devotional service. So he has special mercy of Radharani. And he was, in his previous birth, was also born as a Shudra, maidservant's boy, right? So he was son of a maidservant. And then he appeared as Devashi Narad. And then Shambhu, Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is Shiv Tattva himself. So it's a completely different plane. And we have Prahlad Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, Bhishma Maharaj, Bali Maharaj, Vyasakir, which is Shukdev Goswami. So we have all these Mahajanas. Shambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kumaro, the Chatur Kumaras, Kapil Dev, and Manu, Swayambhuva Manu. So these 12 Mahajanas. Vayam is because the speaker is of this verse is Yamraj himself, sometimes also referred to as Dharmaraj, because he is upholding the dharma and making proper judgment. Sometimes we look at the judge, and we never categorize the judge to be, this is a criminal justice judge, or this. That refers to the lawyers. Judge is judge, and he is taking care of cases and of specific stream. So he is upholding dharma, and for good deeds, he is giving rewards, and for bad deeds, he is giving punishment. But both are done with one motive, for purification of the living entity. Sometimes people look at, oh, this judge gave me punishment. He's a bad judge. No, he's not a bad judge. You did a bad act, and so there is a reaction to it. And he's helping you nullify that reaction. So you should be grateful. We should be grateful to the judge for giving us some punishment so that our reactions, can finish faster. And we can again be in a pure state, continue to lead our life. Yet society, they look at it very differently. And when you talk about society, society is in Kali age, as His Holiness Bhaktitir Maharaj says in his writings so many times, Kala Shuddha Sambhava, what do we expect? Everyone born, mostly, they are Shudras. They are born with that mindset in ignorance. And an ignorant person can say whatever they feel like comes to mind, and we should not take that very seriously. Yes, perception is important. And so devotees, instead of wasting their time to give responses to the various people who are coming up with different categories, again, allegations sometimes, we should focus on devotional service. That's an important piece. And look at the Sadhu Guru and Shastras as our references. Yet at the same time, if we do make a mistake, we should approach the senior devotees and ask them, inquire from them. And that is the layout. So Vidur, first of all, we understand he is one of the Mahajanas. When he's feeling hurt by the harsh words of Duryodhana, he walks out and leaves his bow at the gate of the Dashra's palace. Now, two amazing things happen. Because of his leaving a bow, because he was actually also a Kshatriya, he was born with those qualities of a Kshatriya, just like Arjun was born with the qualities of a Kshatriya. So, it is when Chatur Vida Bhajante Mam, again, no, not that one. Well, our nature and our work determines which particular class we belong to. So again, we, Chaturvarna Maya system, Guna Karma Vibhagasha. So the effect of the three modes of material nature, Guna, and Karma, the activities that we perform. So here he lifts his bow. That means he's not going to participate in Kurukshetra war. That's very clear. And next is, after having taken care of his wife and children, he is on a pilgrimage. And he's going on a pilgrimage unidentified. He's not saying, I'm so and so, right? I'm son of Vyasdev, and he's not taking, rather, he is focusing on service. He is visiting pilgrimages for his purification. And when somebody would say, why would he do that? Well, that's because that was the dharma in Dwapar Yuga. Krite tadadhayate Vishnum tretayam yajito makahe dwapare paricharyayam kalo tadhari ketana. Krite tadadhayate Vishnum. In Krita age, Satyuga, people could meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why? Because all four legs of dharma, of religion, were strong at that time. Austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. But as Satyuga went away, austerities, people could not be as austere, but they could still be clean. Tretayam yajatomake. So there are 6 types of cleanliness required to perform fire sacrifices. So in Treta Yuga, one can attain perfection by doing fire sacrifices. But then with the going of Treta Yuga, even that went away. Then Dwapare Paricharyayam. Paricharyayam, actually, when we look at it, we understand, Srila Prabhupada very nicely translates that this is temple worship or deity worship. But deities in temples are at the various pilgrimage sites. Paricharya. Charya refers to going to different places as well as getting ourselves introduced to the process of worshipping. So when we look from that perspective, Vidur and Lord Balaram, before Kurukshetra war, they went on pilgrimage. So they went on a journey to various temples, various important sites, tirthas. Tirth refers to the pilgrimage sites. And so Mahatma Vidur is going. And as he is traveling, he hears about the fratricidal war that happened and how Pandavas and Kauravas, they fought, and all the Kauravas, actually both sides had heavy damage, and Pandavas and just few other warriors, everyone else was killed. So actually all of them went back home, back to Godhead by the mercy of Lord Krishna. So he's so causelessly merciful. And so he started traveling, on the banks along the side of Yamuna, remembering Lord Krishna. And on his travel, he meets Uddhava. So at Prabhas, he hears it. He's traveling on the bank of Yamuna, meets Uddhava. And this is where, as soon as he sees Uddhava, he's remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is where we realize that sometimes when we see a sannyasi, when we see a devotee, when we see them having such a nice tilak, just like Sahadev Prabhu, his tilak is shining right now. So like when we see the devotee, we immediately remember the Supreme Lord. Devotees, it is said, Srila Prabhupada reveals that our body itself is a temple. That's why we decorate our body with tilak. And so just by seeing Uddhav, Vidur, his emotions, his devotional service, like the feeling he had, the love he had for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that immediately urges onto the surface. And devotees are said to be muni, which means one who is very silent and grave. Yet at the same time, it also means that one does not gossip. One does not gossip about unnecessary subject matters, but mainly focuses on the glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Vidur, as soon as he sees Uddhav, and Uddhav sees Vidur, so Uddhav knows Vidur very well, and he's like, oh, uncle is here, on the side. And as soon as they see each other, Vidur asks Uddhav question after question after question. It's very interesting that sometimes you ask one question, how's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna? The husband of the goddess of fortune. You would stop, but no. He's saying Uddhav's emotions as soon as he remembers Lord Krishna. And then he is also narrating, and how do what about Pradyumna, Aniruddha? And he's calling out with their characteristics. And so Uddhava is having waves after waves of ecstasy hitting him with each question. That's something we have to understand. When we hear these questions by Vidur, those waves of ecstasy that were hitting Uddhav, we should be experiencing those waves of ecstasy hitting us, merging us, constantly merging us in this ocean of bliss. And that is the importance. As soon as we remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we get goosebumps. We forget to even get proper thoughts in chain. We are constantly the 8 types of, again, various symptoms that appear in the body. And he had been going on pilgrimages after pilgrimage. And then he is identifying that actually all these pilgrimages are with one focus. And that's what he had been doing. He had been engaged in devotional service for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he was visiting various pilgrimages. And at Prabhas, when he heard about the war and destruction of large amount of armies on Pandavas and Kauravas, said he's returning. Yet at the same time, he is unaware of something because he is seeing that Uddhav is not able to answer because he is feeling these waves. And it's a sweet, bitter experience on Uddhav's face as he's observing. Why is it sweet and bitter? Because Vidur has only heard about the Pandavas and Kauravas. He has not heard about the Yadus. He does not know that Yadavas also became intoxicated as a part of the pastime of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they also returned back home, back to Godhead. So all, on the Yadavas, they also fought after the Yajna, having taken that rice liquor, and they used the bamboo sticks, which are actually grown because of the iron, the grated iron that actually washed onto the floor, onto the shore of this ocean, and bamboo sticks had grown, and they've used these bamboo sticks to fight, and thinking of each other as enemy, the whole family, including Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and others, they all were gone. And afterwards, when Lord Krishna and Balaram, they left, Lord Krishna was sitting under the tree where he gave Uddhav Gita, where he gave instruction to Uddhav. And Uddhav was actually on his journey carrying these instructions for Narayan Rishi when he met Vidur, his uncle. And at this period of time, Vidur is asking, so while Uddhav is hearing about all these amazing personality, King Ugrasen, Lord Krishna, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Lord Sankarshan, Balaram, and so forth, he is also feeling that separation. And here, Vidur, he is now relating to his father. So, of course, we will see Uddhava's response in the next chapter as we travel further. But here, something amazing is happening. Vidur himself, by his life, and Uddhav, both these personalities, by their life, they're setting us examples for us. And when we look at these examples, one of the most important quality that we understand is obedience. We can attain everything if we are disciplined and obedient. And I really like this example His Holiness Bhaktitirth Maharaj he gives, is a child. Sometimes parents, they tell their son, hey, why don't you wash the dishes for next 2 weeks, and after that I'll get you a bicycle. And the child, he has full trust that the parents will give him a bicycle. So the child is washing dishes for 2 weeks. Now, if the parents had paid the child for washing those dishes, he would not have collected enough funds to buy a bicycle, by the way. It is the mood that the parents want to see, that how the child is being obedient and following the instructions. So here, we see a beautiful example that the parents are just trying to see how the child is obedient, and just if the child follows the instruction by the parents, at the end of 2 weeks, he has full faith that he will receive a bicycle. Similarly, His Holiness is explaining, we have been given the easiest process. Kala tad Hari Kirtanat. In Kali age, all these other processes, going over to holy places and performing pilgrimage one after another for the lifespan, or doing fire sacrifices, like at Namisharan, they were performing fire sacrifices 1,000 years long. You can imagine, we don't have such a lifespan. And meditation for 10,000 years or more sometimes, because Vishwamitra, after 60,000 years of meditation, Menaka disturbed him. Prachetas received benediction by the Supreme Lord after 10,000 years of meditation underwater. Raise your hand if you can hold your breath underwater for 10 minutes. I can't, I know that. 3 is the max I can do. So for 10,000 years underwater. And we see that in this age, the easiest process has been given. And we just have to follow the process. In Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati's time, if a devotee did not chant 64 rounds, he was called patita, fallen. That's very strong when we hear. But Srila Prabhupada is very merciful. He kept the principle same, chanting of the holy name. He changed the detail and he took it upon us to deliver us. So he as a father has promised us, if we chant 16 rounds daily, then we will be able to go back home, back to Godhead. That's the promise that we have from Srila Prabhupada. So as father he has assured us, and with faith, all we have to do is carry out those services. And that's the purpose of tirthas. However, what do we do as children sometimes? We have the tendency, maybe, instead of washing it every day, I want to play with my friends. So the child may think, let me just push them under the cabinet. So mother won't know. And afterwards, I'll wash them tomorrow. Okay, why today? I want to play today as well. Maybe I'll push these additional utensils under the cabinet and come back to it tomorrow. And when 2 weeks pass, if the child comes to the parents and says, where's my bicycle? The parents will say, yeah, where's the stack of those utensils? They are lying under the cabinet, all dirty. That is our state. In Kali age, we are in such a fallen state, and this Kali age is very disturbing. Prayana alpayusha sabhya kalavasmin yuge jana manda sumanda matya mand bhaghe upraditaha. So in this Kali age, first of all, we have alpayu, short lives. And kalavasmin yuge jana. And people are quarrelsome. It's the age of hypocrisy and quarrel. Manda, people are lazy. Sumanda matyo, less intelligent. Manda bhagya, they are unlucky. And upradita, and they're constantly disturbed. So we have been given the easiest process, and we should just take to that easiest process with this firm faith that if we follow it, we will attain perfection. And the example is very well set by Vidu's words in this particular, in the translation as is given, that Lord is unborn, but yet he appears by his causeless mercy upon the surrendered rulers of all parts of the universe. And it is only for their interest that he appear in the family of his unalloyed devotees of Yadus. And he's of course starting with saying, oh my friend, please therefore chant the glories of the Lord. So Vidur, he's becoming a little impatient, as we can understand. He has asked so many questions and Uddhav is not able to respond. And so he's asking, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. He's encouraging Uddhav to respond to his inquiries in this particular chapter. Now, one of the important things we are also thinking is, maybe there was this mindset that when we hear about Bhagavad Gita, when we hear about Srimad Bhagavatam, it is something coming from India. Well, that's not a fact, because Srimad Bhagavatam was provided, was narrated to Vyasdev by none other than Devashi Narad. It was also sung by Lord Shiva to Parvati earlier. That's where Shukdev Goswami heard it, when he was still a parrot. Vyasdev told him afterwards, right? This whole Srimad Bhagavatam, it is being sung all over the universe. So we are limited by our senses, we are limited by our capabilities. Yet, Lord is so merciful, He is causelessly merciful, that yes, He knows our limitations and He knows our abilities. And if we, sometimes people, again, His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, he gives this beautiful example that if you see someone as a handicap, and you say, okay, this handicapped person is so much disabled. But if that handicapped person tries to perform the best of their abilities, you're very appreciative of it. While an able person who has all the facilities but does not perform his duties, you're not very appreciative of this person. He has been given everything, but he is not really contributing. So we have to follow the simple process of taking to the chanting of the holy name. That is the purpose, especially in this age. And being obedient and fixed in firm faith to Srila Prabhupada's promise that he will give us protection. So this, I just wanted to share with you that in our age, when we hear this particular chapter, the narration, and how Lord's, related inquiries are being made by Vidur, we should be becoming more, we should be reminded of the blessings that we have received by Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas, and by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Srimad Bhagavatam is available where we can take shelter and in firm faith continue to perform our duties, follow the regulative principles, do the minimum 16 rounds of chanting every day, and surely we will all return back home, back to Godhead. That's Lord's causeless mercy. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. It's great to give it to Prabhu. That's a very wonderful delivery of the Krishna Katha from the Nectarian Srimad Bhagavatam. Dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, realizations you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to speak or to share. Hare Krishna. So we're talking about pilgrimages. Srila Prabhupada was explaining in the purport that the purpose is to serve Krishna, to remember Krishna. We are also told in different parts of the scriptures to always remember Krishna and to never forget Krishna.
Yes.
That means that even without going to places of pilgrimages, one should remember Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
And so if the purpose of visiting places of pilgrimages is to remember Krishna, then why do we need to go for a pilgrimage when we are always trying to remember Krishna wherever we may be at?
Hare Krishna. Very nice question, Sadhu Prabhu. One simple response is, Srila Prabhupada in his writing many places, he has revealed this, that by going to a pilgrimage, if you go to Mathura, Vrindavan, devotional service is easy. Everyone is performing them, right? So our association matters. If someone associates with drunkards, he will start drinking. If someone is associating with, women monglers or thieves, they will take those habits. So when we take association of devotees, it becomes easy for us to follow devotional service. So it becomes spontaneous, it becomes easy, and which is for our purification. That's why devotees, they go to pilgrimages, they go to Vrindavan, they still go to Mayapur and other places for self-purification and to associate with devotees. Because love matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi haya. One can get all kind of benedictions when they associate with the devotees, as is also experienced in this chapter by Vidur. Mahatma Vidur associated with Dhritarashtra, did like that association much. He definitely didn't like association of Duryodhan. He left everything because of Duryodhan. Yet at the same time, he loved the association of Uddhava. because it reminded him of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So pilgrimage is not just going and seeing the deity and taking bath in the river, because that attitude of just taking bath in the river is that of crows. The true attitude of a devotee is going and associate with the devotees at the places of pilgrimage. We want to have sadhu sangha. Hare Krishna.
Wow. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Sadhu Sangha. Well, Thakur Murari Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Thank you, Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
All my obeisances of goes to Srila Prabhupada. Now it goes to the assembly devotees. And as usual, thank you, Prabhu, for your presentation. And each time the subject of, Maitreya, not Maitreya. I know, okay, so when I first met the devotees, fortunately I got a magazine which had, those in Back to Godhead, which those series. So one of the series was talks between Maitreya and Vidura. So each time it comes up, although we haven't at this point Vidura hadn't met Maitreya yet.
No,
At
he
this
has
point
not
in
met.
discussion.
Not yet, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so yeah, so okay, so I kind of running ahead, but we're going to go to that. But I just love discussion, and so it's and okay, thanks for reminding us about the reason for going to pilgrimage, not just to say I go to Uganda or go somewhere, but the main reason to go is for sadhu sangha. So thanks again for
Yes.
that
Actually,
reminder, and thanks. Yes, and as usual, thanks for the presentation. So, Hare Krishna, that's my bit.
And in the Shastras, of course, this is Rupa Goswami in Nectar Devotion, as we understand. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he's elaborating some of the important things. And yes, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, we understand from Chaitanya Charitamrita was the instruction that Sanatana Goswami received, and he passed it on. Rupa Goswami wrote it in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and is available to us, where he is revealing that there are 64 processes, abhideya, how we can attain our goal. And of those 64, 4 are most potent. So first one is, of course, chanting of the holy name. Second is residing in a holy place, a dham, because it makes it spontaneous for us to take to devotional service. Third is reading Srimad Bhagavatam, which we are doing together. Fourth is worshipping the deities. And Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says that whoever discusses this important subject matter between me and you, Arjun, is worshipping by one's intelligence. And same thing is true for Srimad Bhagavatam. We're directly in association with the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam, while we say yes, Shaktavesh Avatar, as for Vyasdev, as incarnation of the Lord, similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam is also an incarnation of the Lord directly. So we're directly associating with the Lord. And last but not the least, the fifth one, where even a neophyte can experience ecstasy, bhava, is devotee association. So these 5 processes are very potent. And other question that Sajay Prabhu had asked, why do we go on a pilgrimage? Yes, we go on a pilgrimage for our purification, but what if we bring pilgrimages to our life? We surround ourselves with some science that makes our home a pilgrimage. Have Srimad Bhagavatam at home. That's your home becomes a pilgrimage. Do deity worship at home, have deities at home. Your home becomes a pilgrimage. Read Bhagavad Gita daily, read Srimad Bhagavatam daily. Directly associating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Make your home a privilege, make your life a place of privilege. Like a pilgrimage. So let's see and surround ourselves so that at home itself it becomes spontaneous, then we don't have to go anywhere. And then invite devotees. You will have devotee association too. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the answer, and Thakur Murari, thank you for the question. Prabhuji, see, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Mother Ganga was disturbed and worried. She was very much concerned when she was asked to come to earth, because she was saying that lots of people are going to take bath in her waters, and they'll be leaving their sins in the body of the water, and therefore thereby she would suffer.
Yes.
And then the Lord also said that, okay, the pure devotees, the sadhus, will also come and take bath and absorb the sins.
Yes.
Now, my question is, if people taking bath in Ganga
Yes.
leave their sins in the river of the Ganga,
Yes.
does that apply to any other body of water? Because I remember, like in my village, those days when we were little boys, we used to, both little and adult, we all go to the riverside to take bath.
Yes.
And most of these people are not great sages. Most likely, they are, excuse me to say, crazy people taking bath in the body of the water. And thereby they're going to be, I don't know if they're going to be leaving their sins in that water. And if they leave their sins in the water, do they get some sort of relief? And the personality of that particular river, does that particular personality also become overburdened by the sins of the people taking bath? Or it is just the consciousness of the people taking bath, that I'm taking this bath to purify myself, that makes the body of the water contaminated or polluted? Or simply by diving into the body of the water, you shedding some of your negative karma? How does that really work?
Hare Krishna. So I'll give you a response based on the current scientists, and then I'll give you a response from the Shastra. First, Dr. Makahito from Japan, he did a study on the water crystals, and he said based on the vibrations and the consciousness around the water crystals immediately absorb that consciousness and can transfer that consciousness just like they absorb, just like a mirror, right? You can see a reflection. So it takes your image and reflects it back to you. It can reflect that to everything else surrounding it. You can go to YouTube. You can also find out about the rice experiment. You can cook the same rice, put it in 2 different jars. Put good rice on one and put bad rice on another one. Come every day and say to the good rice, you are wonderful. You are such an amazing rice. You are, great to taste and all. And you point to the bad, to the one that has bad rice and say, you are so bad. You have bad odor. You are so harmful for the body. It's amazing. After 2 weeks, you'll see that the good rice will still look like fresh, as if it was just cooked, short time before. The other rice, which was getting the curse, just the vibrations from the air and the way you're speaking those words and you're looking at it, it starts to develop fungus and all kind of bad things. So that's consciousness. It quickly goes from one person to another, and water is a very strong carrier. So yes, we should be careful of where and why we are taking bath, and of course, before we take bath, we should chant some mantras so that the water becomes purified, so all those effects get nullified. Devotees, they're constantly chanting Lord's name, right? So when they enter the water becomes nullified because the whole body is in that vibration. Krishna Surya Sama, Maya He Andhakara. If Krishna is like sun and Maya is like darkness, in the presence of sun, there cannot be any darkness. So think of it this way, that these devotees, they're like lamps. They're entering the water. So of course, there cannot be any negativity, right? In the dark place, there cannot be. But people around such can also get the light. Just like in case of lamp, things around you can see as well. So whoever is seeing the lamp also seeing things around this lamp. So same thing is true. So scientifically, that's one response. Second one is with respect to the places of pilgrimage where the rivers are flowing through. Those places of pilgrimage, the devotees, they visit. They take bath. I'll give you the example from the lamp perspective. Also, the deities being worshipped. And who's worshipping these deities? The devotees are worshipping these deities. How are they worshipping these deities? They are worshipping with love, with awe and reverence. Srila Prabhupada says that when we worship Radha Krishna, we should be worshipping them. Think of Lakshmi Narayan with awe and reverence, with great respect, with great care, with high discipline and cleanliness. That consciousness is being offered to the Lordship. And various offerings that are going on, and many pilgrimages, we'll see that actually the river goes under the temple. All that consciousness immediately gets absorbed in the waters and also get purified. So as per the Shastras, this effect of a pilgrimage site is a purifying effect for the rivers. When people are taking bath at different places within the river, they may be introducing their consciousness, but also remember that there's pure consciousness also coming with such a large quantity that this small negative consciousness will immediately get washed away. But yes, if there is no positives and only negatives are there, then you will see the society getting deteriorated, people having all kinds of miseries in their life, and they're complaining about their sufferings, which reminds me of another story, but I'll keep it for other times. So we have to understand, we cannot be lamenting about the past, aspiring for the future. Present is the moment where we take to the chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Wow. Wow. If I may ask my last question for today, and I've been asking this question. Unfortunately, I've not had a suitable answer to it yet. So I keep asking. And I think Srila Prabhupada said something in that direction. From the very beginning of the purport, Srila Prabhupada was talking about rulers of different planets. Srila Prabhupada was talking about the sun god, the moon god, and the people in the Siddhaloka. Now, my question is, like you were talking about Mandukamuni cursing Yamaraj and Yamaraj coming to earth as a Vidura. Yamaraj is a full-grown individual, but when he was cursed to come to earth, he had to be born like a baby, and then started growing, and then he became an adult. So I've been wondering if a living entity leaves this material body on this earth planet and has to be transferred to somewhere like, let's say, Brahmaloka, which Prabhupada said most of us may end up in the heavens. If a devotee, if a soul, generally, if a soul leaves this material body and has to go to another body, another planet, does the soul get born and start growing like we see on this earth planet, or the soul goes to that particular planet as a full-fledged adult? And if it is a full-fledged adult, then how do the living entities on those planets give birth? It's not going to help me go back to Godhead, but it's just an inquisitive mind. I've just been wondering. I don't know if you may help.
So Padma Puran, Garud Puran, and Vishnu Puran, all three talk about this with different instances. Have I covered Bali Maharaj's previous birth? Have I covered his previous birth as how he was a merchant and he had all kind of bad attractions? He would cheat people, by selling the products, and he will make a lot of money, but he was attracted to a prostitute and he would take big gifts for her. And once it just so happened that he was dressed in silken cloth, full platter of treasure he was carrying. and a lot of like perfumes and paraphernalia and saris and other things to give to that prostitute he was attracted to. He was rushing to see her. And these people, they noticed, thieves, and they beat him up, took away everything, and he is about to die, right? And he sees Lord Shiva, he sees that I'm under a bael tree, picks up a bael leaf, which is three-pointed leaf, and he offers it to Lord Shiva at the last moment. And he is taken by Yamdutas to Yamraj. And Chitragupta, he's the secretary. Chitra means pictures, Gupta means all your secret pictures. So Chitragupta has the best technology in the universe. And he's got all our secrets properly recorded with evidences. You cannot deny them. He looks at the record, he's like, oh, this man was sinful from start to end. But in the last moment, he did one good thing. What did he do? He offered bael leaves to Lord Shiva. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Of all the Vaishnavas, Lord Shambhu, Lord Shiva is the topmost Vaishnava. So he has acquired something. Now, when we go, if God forbid, but if we do go to Yamaraj and we are given options, what can we do? So now Bali Maharaj, he's in this merchant, his soul has a subtle body being given for the punishment as well as for enjoyment. So he is asked, what do you want? These are various options. His focus is, what's the best position I can have? Then he's given like, okay, you can be an Indra just for a muhurta, about 42 minutes. So he says, I would like to be Indra for just that short duration. And everyone's like surprised. He still want to enjoy. He hasn't left it. So now Yamdutas, with the order of Yamraj, they take him to Indra Loka. And he says, King Indra, please let him be Indra for this given duration. Indra is upset. I'm Indra. How can this person, you have brought in front of me? And especially you have to understand that when we are taken by the Yamarajas, because of all the pendant, again, dan and other things, the rituals, we get a body which is only 2.5 feet high. You have to understand, Yamaraj's body is 3 miles high. Indra's body is 4 miles. So again, these are big personalities. 2.5 feet is nothing in front of a mile. But he's asked this, and Agni and Varun Dev and others, they come and say, you know what, let's go on a stroll. Let him become Indra. We'll finish our stroll, come back, and then you'll be Indra again. Indra says, sure. So here, this is a quick example that in this case, the reward is given. He's not given another body. In his current body that was provided, he is going to experience the enjoyment in Indra Lok. So again, here, what happens is, nobody knew that what this soul is thinking. He is thinking, I gave one, just offer of Bail Patra to Shiva, and I get to become an Indra. I should use this lesson. He took that small lesson and he took it to his heart. So as soon as he was made Indra, the very first moment, as soon as he's coronated as Indra, Devashi Narada appears with Shachi Devi, wife of Indra. She's very beautiful. She's like, you want to enjoy her? He knows, Devashi Narada knows. This man, in his previous birth as a mercantile man, he was attracted to a prostitute. Shachi Devi is millions of times more beautiful. He says, no, everyone's shocked. And he says to Devashi Narada, could we please have all the rishis come over here, all the brahmanas in the heavenly planet? I want to give them gifts. And he gave in charity everything that was there in the treasury house of Indra. So by the time Indra comes, what has happened? His treasury is empty. He possesses nothing. Everything has been given to the sages and to the brahmanas and to the devotees. And Bali Maharaj is, okay, Yamdutas come, your period is over, let's go back. Indra comes and he is like, I am Indra, back on my position, but I am nothing. So he begs all of them to return everything that Bali Maharaj gave. Well, they returned him. But there is a blessing they give to the soul who gifted them in charity. And there is a curse that Indra gets because of begging, that without their wish, he took that away. Something given in charity should not be asked for. So here we see an example, no need for birth. Yet at the same time, we see the example of personalities born from the body of Brahma. And they are given different planets, right? So Kashyapa Muni at Aditi, he has 12 sons. They are known as Adityas. With Diti, he had other sons like Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksh. They are called Daityas. These are heavenly planets. They are taking normal birth just like every other living entity. And they're going on their course of life. So that is also there. So we have all three examples. Instantly, based on the judgment by Yamaraj, one by enter in whatever body that they have been provided into a heavenly planet, given to balance their time of enjoyment and the kind of enjoyment they're looking for. We could very well appear from the bodies of other living entities, like Lord Brahma. He is Aja, he's born, he doesn't have material father and mother. He's directly born from on the lotus, which is coming out from Garbhodakshay Vishnu. The lotus coming out from the navel of Lord Vishnu. And from his body are coming various personalities. Even Kashyapa Muni comes out from his body. Devashi Narad, the Chatur Kumaras, all these personalities, Swayambhu Manu and his wife, all these personalities are coming out from Lord Brahma's body. Even the Pishachas and others also come out. But does that make Lord Brahma polluted? No. But based on different positions, and Suryadev, we know about him as Vivaswan, he is the eldest son of Aditi and Kashyapa Muni. While Indra is the 11th son of, they have same parents, Kashyapa and Aditi. And we hear about Upendra, the younger brother, who's also celebrated as Vamandev. Lord appears as the 12th son of Aditi. Does that answer your question, Prabhu?
Yes, it does. Because you gave all the three different possibilities. So it depends on what Yamaraj has decided with a particular jiva. Then that is what is going to happen. Wow. Just like even on this earth planet, we know that everybody is born of a woman, but there are a few instances where that is not the case. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know such differences are given in the different Puranas. Wow. Yeah. Dear devotees, anyone with something else to share or to ask before we call it a day for today? Well, Prabhuji, we thank you so much. I'm not sure if you have any sort of concluding words before we bring this to a final close, but it seems we are going to bring this to a close. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, Prabhu. Again, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to this forum and really appreciate the Devotees Association here. And very interesting questions that you asked, where I'm reminded of so many wonderful pastimes from the Puranas, so cannot express my gratitude enough. We have been blessed with an amazing gift by Srila Prabhupada. He provided us Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and the best of all is chanting of the holy name, where we can directly associate with the Lord. Yet at the same time, yes, our senses are so dull. Rupa Goswami reveals it in Nectar Devotion. Atashi Krishna Namadi na bhavir grahim indriya sevan mukhe jivado swayameva spuratyada. Our senses are so dull that we cannot appreciate Lord's name, form, activities, pastimes, entourage, and other great characteristics which directly relate to the Lord's presence in our life. But if we engage our tongue in chanting of the holy name and singing, having Krishna Prasad, then of course, Lord himself will manifest to us, himself to us. So we can also get the divine eyes, like we see Arjun getting, Sanjay getting, Bhishma, Drona, and others getting. We can also get the same gift just by being obedient. So that's the lesson today, that our focus is to chant holy name in obedience and firm faith. Then the success is guaranteed. Hare Krishna. Gantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada.
Jai. Thank you so much for sharing that with us all. Thank you, thank you. With that being said, we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to our revered speaker for today, His Grace, JIVA TATTVA Prabhu, for sharing his love and wisdom with us all today. Jai. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna, Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama Hare
Manta
Hare.
kalpa tarabhyasta, Divya
Panchakalpatarubhishcha,
Evacha,
Kripasandhya
Titanam
Evacha,
Pavanebhyo,
Patitanam
Vaishnavabhyo Namo
Pavanebhyo,
Namaha.
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Antakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai.
Jai Jai,
All glories to His Grace, Jiva Tattva Prabhu Ki Jai.
Jai,
Samur Vaishnava Vaishnavi devotees Ki Jai. And
Jai
all
Jai,
Guru Param Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.